back for another episode of the iReach podcast. Got a very special guest, Mr. Carlos Rodriguez. He is the owner of Mr. Roofing out of California. Thanks for being with us today. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me. I'm really super excited, especially because of all the good stuff that you and your organization are doing.
No, I appreciate it, man. I think talking about construction from a roofing perspective is going to be a very interesting conversation. But then also just from a business perspective as well, just talking about what's needed to own your own company within the construction industry. So when you think about like roofing, I would say the average person, because we deal a lot with just people in general that don't know about the different career opportunities that exist within construction and what you can do, not only from a worker's perspective, but also from an owner's perspective as well. And we'll get into that.
Mhm.
But when you think about kind of a roofing company, like the picture that comes to mind is probably, you got trucks, you got ladders, they see the work that's taking place, but what goes into building and having a roofing company?
Yeah, so I always tease that no one's in roofing because they want to be. Traditionally, a lot of people in the roofing industry, it was like a second or third generation. It's family owned, and kind of what if I really take it back into historical context, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s. In fact, there's an interesting article about New York in the New York Times about what happened to the American roofer. And back then, it was in terms of like the trades, especially union shops. Everyone wanted to be in the electrical union, the elevator union, perhaps the plumbing union, and roofing was at the bottom of the totem pole at that point in time. And sort of the bad rap that roofing got was that it was like a pack of pirates and people with substance abuse problems and things like that. And so there wasn't it wasn't highly regarded as an industry, right? Full circle to where we're at now, in California, contractors are licensed professionals like doctors, dentists, lawyers, CPAs. And I've been in charge now this will be my 28th year. And
Congratulations on that.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, my whole goal is that, in fact, one day I'm going to write a book, a little children's book where when someone asks, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And that someone says, I want to be a roofer. And that's really the approach I've taken. So it's now a lot different. It's really, we do a lot of training, education, a lot of stuff to really help our teammates. So my father started our business in 1989 and I was like 15. We immigrated here from Mexico when I was 4 years old, 3 actually. And this was the first opportunity my dad had. And I've been around it ever since then, one way or another. And my dad would make me, when I was a young man, go out on the tear-off cruise. And, it's the hardest part of the job. And it's
Now, when you're young, did you want to do it?
no, that's what I mean. They made me go. And
Right. I heard the word "make me." So
yeah, exactly. Because my friends were hanging out at the park playing video games, and that's how they spent their summer. And I was out there, it taught me a lot of humility and discipline and hard work, right? But I didn't want to do it, man. As a 14-year-old, I'd rather be hanging out doing something else. And so my dad would say, if you don't go to school, you're going to do this forever. And I was like, but I wish you would have said it in a different way. Like, you can choose to do this if you want to or not. And that's what I want young people to take away from this. Because I thought it was a bad thing. So I was like, try to be a good son, listen to them, and went on. I graduated from UC Berkeley and was working in a corporate environment because that's what I thought. And other people told me was like success.
that was success. Yeah.
But it wasn't for me, Paul. I each their own, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because the positioning and the way that construction has been put in front of youth for a long time now, has been similar to how your dad, said that to you. if you don't take care of your business at school, then you'll be doing this for the rest of your life, right? And that's essentially the stigma that construction got, because the proper next step after high school was to go to college and get that 4-year degree. And if you were not, let's say, on track to go to college for a variety of different reasons, didn't even always have to mean competency.
Right.
It's just college is not for everybody, but
Yep.
that was like synonymous with success, was going. And if you didn't go, then that's when construction was presented to you as this alternative.
Right.
And so it kind of got this stigma that construction was an industry that you failed into. So it's like, if it's an industry that you fail into, of course you're not saying it explicitly, but if I feel like that, right, then what's going to make me pursue it, or what's going to make me, celebrate the fact that I'm in it, and then try to get other people in it as well, right? So I think that's a big component now that the schools and the educational institution is trying to combat. And so now you have the emergence of CTE, which is career and technical education programs that are coming back within schools. For those of us who have been out of school and can remember the shop days, it's like shop, right? Where it's coming back.
But super relevant, right? And so, for example, today I was at a local middle school that has a career day, and this is their 17th year having a career day. And so there are a lot of different careers represented there. And I really like going and certainly talking about my business and my experience. But really what I talk to them about is like abundance. Some people might not be good academic learners sitting at a desk, but they're great with their hands. And that's what happens in the construction world, right? In fact, I think there's a study that showed there's a high incidence of people in the construction trades with learning differences, but they're super, super smart people and I see it on my crews that they're able to solve these complex problems because they're great with their hands and their mind, not in an academic setting.
And that's the thing, you have, when you think about just the amount of people that we have, the amount of people that come through a generation, right? To automatically say that a generation doesn't want to work within the industry of construction, I think is very limited, right? Like that's a narrow view. You have people that are hands-on learners. You have people that, love their visual learners. You have people that, can really sit down and do things, from a book perspective. And you have people that just like to get their hands into things. The cool thing about construction is that whatever you are gifted in and whatever area you like, there's an opportunity for you to do something within it. But being on the skilled trade side and affirming those who are smart, but utilizing their hands in a way to solve problems as opposed to an ink pen or something like that, or typing, I think has to be put on par with those other career pathways as well. And I think it's starting to get there, but it's been an uphill battle.
So after I graduated, was working in a corporate environment, doing well. I was doing well. Then my pops needed a lot of help. He was overwhelmed with the business, and it was at a real small scale. And I was like, shoot, because it would take me back to my days of, man, I don't want to have anything to do with the family business. But I had a young family. My wife and I met at Berkeley. We started our family right out of school, and I had to take care of them. And I also felt a responsibility to my family, my father, and because he's helped us, along the way. We're a private company, and there wasn't a lot of training for the worker to be better at what they're doing. And highest complaint with the Better Business Bureau. And then I was like, man, maybe I really shouldn't get into this, right? But I had a mentor, and she actually told me that if you ever have an opportunity and it's lowly regarded and you come into it, you can only make it look better, and you look like a star. So like, if you're a coach and you're replacing the coach that only won 1 game last year and lost 10 of them, and you win 2, you're already twice as good as it. So a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And I just came in and put into place the stuff I had learned from school. I majored in psychology because I'm fascinated by human behavior,
Mm.
fascinated by it. And so sales, marketing, management, training, that all of that is applied psychology and best practices and learning from other groups. And that's how we've built this business from, my out of my dad's home into, owning our own shop and and you don't have to believe me. I love this era. You can see what people say about us in this internet world, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No,
I'm
it's
very
cool.
proud of it.
So at what point, I know you mentioned you kind of were being brought in. Your dad needed some more assistance on things, but internally, at what point did it click to where you were like, okay, I'm not I'm not a roofer anymore. Like I'm a business
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, with time and the results, because when you're in it and you're so close to it, you might not see it. And so I'd be at parties with friends who graduated with me
yeah,
from Berkeley and some of them went on to business school or law school or whatever. And so I'd say, when I'd introduce myself, I'm a roofer. I'm Carlos, and I'm a roofer. But they would gravitate to some of these other like, folks who perhaps looked like they had a little more like prestige behind like the work they did. And it started to dawn on me. I'm like, well, wait, I actually employ like 3 of these lawyers. And the business school folks started coming to me and asking me like, hey, like real life practical stuff instead of
mhm,
just theory, right? So real praxis where I'm actually taking theory and putting it into practice. And and then we started winning awards and recognition for like the stuff that we were doing. And then
yeah,
someone actually, I remember, yeah, a few people, man, they were like, you got a real like they searched and try to find some dirt on us or
yeah,
whatever. And they were like, man, like you got a really good business. And I kind of reflected on that. I was like, I've just for me, Paul, I'm pretty naive. I just want to take care of my teammates and
mm,
take care of my clients.
yeah,
And then everything else falls into place.
yeah,
And so after a while, I was like, you know what? Yeah, we do have a good thing going
yeah,
here. Yeah. So what I love about what you're doing, I want to find and attract talented people to my organization. Our core purpose is protecting and empowering family and
mm,
community. And we do that by delivering a peak contractor experience. And that's why I want to attract super talented people to help me with that core purpose so we can take care of more clients
yeah.
and make this a great place for people to be treated with dignity, with the benefits that we deserve.
Leadership is more about a responsibility than it is the title, right? I think a lot of times people chase the title and they miss the responsibility of the title, right? And therefore, those people that you've been blessed to lead, they don't feel blessed, right? Like it's just you don't necessarily steward the position well because you don't see it as a responsibility to take care of them, to build them up, for you to keep growing so that you can keep elevating them as well. And
Yeah.
so I think when you lay aside the stewardship component of it and the responsibility component of it, I think that's where you begin to just have like the transactional role, right? Where it's not really transformational. And when I hear you talk, it's like, hey, I want to take care of my team. I want to take care of my clients. I want to steward this position of leadership well so that people see and get like what they imagine and more, right? And then our team, they get a chance to fulfill like their gifts and execute and operate in that while also like loving where they work because we spend so much time working, right? And you
Good.
wanna love where you work.
Yeah, you're with folks at work more than family, really.
Yeah,
And and so yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
that's cool.
You couldn't say better, Paul. And that's the ultimately, we still, our culture is about a championship culture, a championship team.
Yeah.
So that, you know, in our mission statement, the whole idea, like the first sentence is about taking care of each other, taking care of the client. The second paragraph, in short, basically talks about taking care of our customers, but by offering them the optimal solution based on their needs, right? Not taking
Mhm.
advantage of folks. And then the third paragraph talks about training and education so that, being part of this community, you reach your own personal and financial goals. That
Yep.
way we're all better for it. So I'm looking for more
Yeah.
people like that.
No, that's good, man. That's good. What do you think is one of the biggest like misconceptions that young people or new talent may have about entering into the trades today?
That's a great question. I think the stigma is sort of still there, right? But for example, now like we fly drones, we have robots that weld seams on like commercial roof systems or flat roof systems. We have like different technology. I mean, like 28 years ago, I had a camera and a tape measure and all this kind of stuff. And now it's pretty much on my phone, right?
Yeah.
And so I think people don't know about that, and they think it's still kind of perhaps maybe dirty work or hard work. But work is work
Yeah.
wherever you're at. Being from a underrepresented community, right? We are the ones that are actually doing a lot of the work, but a lot of people in my community don't have the leadership position or the
Hmm.
opportunity to even earn that position. Some of these young people who might be out there hustling or in like easy money,
Yeah.
um, those same skills, like I can have you be on my sales team, and that same energy and that same skill set that you have, you can make a great living, and you don't have to like risk getting in trouble,
Right.
right? And
Telling you, man, like I always tell young people, like you out there, you in the streets, you making easy money, but just think about the skill sets that you're using in a way that is destructive, right?
right,
Like to put it point blank.
yep,
I mean, you got mathematical skills, you got marketing skills, you got, people skills. I mean, it's you critical thinking. You got, I mean, it's so many different skill sets that you are putting to use,
yep.
right? And being able to take that and legitimize that, you know what I'm saying, is what we try to bring them on to.
And
So
you don't
yeah,
have to worry about, looking behind your bag, what's going
yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's more, it's riskier, it's more precarious. But yeah, I agree. That same skill set applied into different aspects of what we do. Because at the end of the day, business is business. So and it happens to be in construction.
So when you're hiring, like what do you look for? Right. So what are some of the qualities or skill sets that you look for in particular when hiring?
Yeah. So depending on the role, right? So I like to, we have our admin, which is all the administrative stuff, and sales and production. And so depending on the role, I have prospective candidates apply, and we'll do assessments. So we do the Wonderlic assessment
Okay.
because it tells me a couple things. Can you do the job? Do you want to do the job? And will you? So like cognitive, personality, and motivational in that role. And it's not a science, but it gives us a good inkling on like your behavior. And we understand that there are some cultural issues with that assessment. So we don't disqualify folks based on that. But if to be real about it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really am looking for three things. And I say it in Spanish. Buenos sentimientos. So that means like good sentiment or good heart. Ganas de trabajar, a strong work ethic. And then ganas de aprender, a desire to learn. Because if you have those 3 things, now it's hard to tell, but I try my best and I have my team interview as best we can. Because if you have those 3 things, like, I could teach you anything else, but it's hard to teach someone to have a good heart or a good sentiment or have a strong work ethic or a desire to learn. So that's really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And that, that allows for you to have the type of culture that you want within your company as well. When you build a company that is about serving others and doing it to the best of their ability, and then being even internally with their team members, right? And then externally out into their clients, and being able to execute with a high level of excellence. You have to have kind of that good heart. Especially, I heard one leader say, one of the things that I fight for is culture,
Mhm.
right? Because you can teach somebody to do the job, but you've got to make sure that you fight for culture. Who do we want to be as a company, right? People sense culture, right? Like, and you can feel that, you can be affected by it, you can grow from it, or you can be upset about it. But it's like people feel culture internally and externally, So yeah.
100%. Yeah. Um, Maya Angelou, one of my favorite quotes is, people won't remember what you might not remember what you said or what you did, but they're going to remember how you made them feel.
How you make them feel. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's really important to me. And like any organization, sometimes there's moments of ebbs and flows, and
Oh yeah.
as a leader, that's when we have to rein it back in and remind everybody about our culture. That's why mission, vision, values, core purpose is an important guiding force around that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. So, when you think about this labor shortage that we're currently in, right? I think if we kind of project out based on the 500,000 jobs that are available right now within construction, and I'm sure roofing is lumped into that as well because it's one of the skilled trades. We're supposed to be at a 4 million job deficit by 2031.
yes.
And that's just a handful of years, right? Because we're already in that labor shortage.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, and when you are forecasting and when you're projecting, just about kind of the future or what have you, are you starting to maybe amplify and increase outreach more to get more visibility, to roofing and the skilled trades, and to just kind of broaden the pipeline, if you will? Or are you looking for like other areas or other strategic partners? How, as a business owner,
Mm.
taking into consideration workforce development, how are you tackling that?
I've been at different conferences, and only a couple of conferences have they actually brought this up. So I actually think a lot of well-intentioned people and companies and owners aren't actually thinking about it, but it's critical for us to that again, I'm super excited about what you're doing and because we need this in the high schools. Because if you really go back, we got to have more babies, right? More babies so we can have more people to be able to do the work. But in the United States, the birth rate is reduced significantly. And so then we got to find people to do the work. And there was a while where it was, the Yale to or jail, and that was it. There was nothing in the middle. But no, like there's a lot of things in the middle. Here we are, right? In the construction world. I'm out like at career days. I'm just kind of out there trying to talk to people and encourage them and getting some younger people. Cause even in our organization, the average age had bumped up to about 37. And we have like 5 generations. We still have a gentleman who they don't make him like they used to. He's 79 and he doesn't want to retire. I'm like,
Really?
yeah, but
No, yeah, they don't make them like they used to. Yeah.
so, and then we got everything down to like, a couple of 20 somethings that we're hoping can continue to help us grow. But beyond that, I'm not doing anything like, super formal. It's just out there trying to find more people in this growth.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to kind of get your perspective as a business owner and leader, because that labor shortage is out there, and employers, when you think about sustainability and the amount of demand that's out there as well, right? I think that is something that we have to be thinking about, is that next wave of talent and getting them to consider construction and trades as a viable opportunity. And so exposure is everything. So how do we get in front of them, kind of let them know what their options are? And so I'm always preaching to them. It's like, we want to put you in a position to make an informed decision, because knowing what you don't want to do is just as important as knowing what you want to do.
I like
And so, but you need information in order to make that decision. And that can come through experience or what have you, or just certain curriculum. But being able to give them the opportunity to get information to make an informed decision about their next steps, because they feel that pressure internally. Society expects for us to transition from adolescence to young adulthood very successfully. And sometimes we looking up like, well, adults, I could use some help. You for me to
Yeah.
make a decision, and do well. Won't you help me out and give me some information, put me on, to tell me something I don't know, but I should be knowing, right? So
Yeah, 100%. And as you mentioned, that what we have to do is demonstrate how cool this is. So now we go to different conferences across the country, and I bring, depending on the conference, I'll bring some of my teammates, and some of them have actually been out of the country in some wonderful, beautiful destinations with other construction companies. So I'm on the steering committee of the Certified Contractors Network, and that's a best practice organization. I'm on the board of directors of the Roofing Contractors Association of California. And there's an apprenticeship program through the Independent Roofing Contractors of California. And so a lot of these different places, we're living a cool life. Like we really are. And I think young people, if they see that, they might be like, okay, you know, if you like fast cars, you can be in this industry and get a fast car. If you want a beautiful home, like you can do that. Or if you just want to help people, like it depends on what the abundance is that you're looking for, right?
Yep.
Again, a big shout out to you for what you're doing in your organization, because there's that demand that's going to be there. The baby boomers who are on their way to their great reward, and then there's a big transfer of wealth with that. So there's going to be folks that are going to say, hey, well, I don't need to work. And then the fact that there aren't enough people to do it, which could lead to a devastating effect on our economy. So we have to do something about it.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's looking at not only today but tomorrow, right? And I think with construction being such a milestone driven industry, where it's about, okay, I gotta complete this deadline. We gotta have this milestone complete. We gotta turn over on this date. We've got to complete this date. We've got to have occupancy by this date. We've got it. So it's very milestone driven. And sometimes, because I always say, I was in the industry, so it's scope, schedule, budget, right? Scope, schedule, budget. Let's get it done. And I think sometimes we have to kind of look up a little bit and just take inventory of the landscape of the industry and the talent that's going out in this mass exodus. And you're looking like, okay, well, sustainability, if I'm losing more than I'm gaining, then I've got to start. I won't be doing scope, schedule, budget that much longer.
Real. Or it's going to be real, like, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be like, stressful and hard. And like, I'm getting older. I'm losing a little bit on the top here. And so we need some young folks to help these old guys out. It's funny, they're calling me OG nowadays. I'm like, what? That's true. So we need some help with that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Listen, what do you think is harder? Learning a trade or learning to run a business?
I'll just share an example, or the book, The E-Myth, where you could be a great technical person, right? A doctor, dentist, lawyer, or roofer. My pops was like, man, I'll just do this for myself. And so you can do it, but then to run a business, you have to know about cash flow and sales and marketing and all that. So I'm gonna say that it's harder to run a business than it is to like learn a trade, you know, because that with no disrespect to anybody though. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. That's good. Man, it has been oh my gosh, it's been an amazing time, man, just sitting here rapping with you. If you had to leave a high schooler with one thing, right? What would you say to them?
I would say, what's the abundance that you want in your life? Is it art? Hang out with people that are in that world. Is it building stuff? Hang out with us that are building stuff. Is it music? Is it, what is the abundance that you want? And the only way you're going to know is by trying things out. Find out as quick as you can what you are good at and then work on that. And you have to put in 10,000 hours to be a master at it. And then someone's going to want to give you a ton of money for that. So what's the abundance that you want in life, and find out what you're good at, and then hone that skill so that you could be the best at what you do.
Yeah. No, that's good. Carlos Rodriguez, man, I appreciate the time. Yeah, owner of Mr. Roofing out in California. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, man.
Likewise, I appreciate you, Paul. Thank you. And again, I'm super grateful to be on here, and thank you for letting me share my story as well.